Good Yontif. Are we on? Good Yontif. Just need your quick attention. I have a few important security and safety considerations before our worship service begins. In the event of an emergency evacuation, it's important to know that there are 4 exits from the sanctuary. You should look in all directions to find the emergency exit that is closest to your seat. First, through the door to your left in the front of the sanctuary leads up a few stairs to the emergency exit on Mount Vernon Street. The second emergency exit is through the door in the center of the sanctuary at your left, which will take you directly to Mount Vernon Street. So if I could have everyone's attention, this is important information that you might need to know. Thank you. So there are 4 emergency exits. One is here, one is there. The third one is through the door you entered on your right. That would lead you back to Green Street through the door you entered the building, or through the Foreman Family Courtyard across the way right out to Green Street. The 4th exit is in the original Thalheimer lobby. You would use the center emergency exit door to get out to Broad Street. If someone is experiencing a heart event, there are 2 automated external defibrillators, often referred to as AEDs. These are at the security desk in the main Levitt Gershman lobby and on your left and forward at the Mount Vernon Street emergency exit here. For your safety and peace of mind, the far left section of the sanctuary closest to Mount Vernon Street is for those who choose to wear and sit among other mask wearers. For accommodations including large print prayer books, assistive hearing devices, if you're looking for a quiet room, please check at the respectability table in the lobby. Thank you for your attention. Gamar Chatima Tova, may you be inscribed in the Book of Life. The service will start in just a few minutes.
return.
We return.
We return.
We return.
We return. Return again. We return. We return. We return. Return again and again to love. We return again to love. We return. We return. We return. Return again. We return. We return. We return. Return again and again to truth. We return again to truth. Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Yameinu kekedem. We return. We return. We return. Return again. We return. We return. We return. Return again and again to you. We return again to you.
Good Yontif. On behalf of Rabbi Friedman and Cantor Hyman and our president, Hank Bernstein, as well as our Rabbi Emeritus, Rabbi Kuhn, and Rabbi Fuchs, who will join us later today, welcome to all here in our sanctuary and all who join us online. It is so good to be together. We are pleased to be joined on the bima by our board member, Kate Yolman, as well. And our heartfelt thanks go to our new organist, Andrew Moneth, our accompanist, Nathaniel Hawk, welcome, to our octet, and to Makela, our Rod of Shalom congregational choir. Have you perhaps heard of the book called 4,000 Weeks? 4,000 weeks. It is named for the average amount of time we have in our lives. 4,000 weeks. That's it. It compels us to ask the question, how are we going to fill our days? That's the story of Yom Kippur. This morning we come together and we encounter the book of life and bring intention, I hope, to determine how will we fill its pages. Well, we could bring lots of intention. Some of us hopefully will determine in these next hours ways to make those pages meaningful. And some of us have to be careful about building what some have called the post-pandemic lockdown revenge calendar of 2022. I am grateful that you are choosing to fill some of your pages with Jewish community and connection. Let's be sure we are among community. Please take this moment to introduce yourself in the comments or turn around and find someone new to greet. I can tell it's clear that I'm not the only one grateful to be together today. This summer, in our Red of Shalom Readers group, we read a book called Because My Soul Longs for You. It inspired a beautiful conversation about enduring human questions. Where can we find God in our lives? God, holiness, deep connection, a sense that we are a part of something greater than ourselves. That book takes its title from this next song, Anim Zmirot. As we sing Anim Zmirot, for you my soul is yearning, we might contemplate, for what does my soul yearn? What is next on my own spiritual journey? Page 139.
Anim Zmirot v'shirim erog ki elecha nafshi tarog ki elecha nafshi nafshi chamda b'tzel yadecha ladat borasodecha ki elecha nafshi tarog ki elecha nafshi tarog mitei tamri michvodecha נדבר בך נכבדות ושמך כבד בשירי ידידות כי אליך נפשי תעבור
Continue with our call to worship, the Baruch Hu, on page 178. Please rise.
Baruch
page 186.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Abayeh.
Please be seated. Page 188.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 196.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדע בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף שיר החדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
Continue on page 198 and following. Please rise.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך Adonai open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'konei Hakol V'zocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot ומביא גאולה Baruch atah Adonai. Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah.
Please be seated.
The sages teach anyone who goes 40 days without suffering is considered to have had a taste of heaven. So, not much longer than a month without suffering. That's all we can hope for. I don't think the teaching intends to depress us. It's meant to bind us, so we all understand. Good chance the person you encounter is facing a challenge. The perspective inspires compassion. In our Unatana Tokef, there is no magic bullet to avoid pain and loss. All we have is our response. Teshuvah, tefillah, tzedakah, repentance, prayer, righteousness. Page 208. Let us proclaim the power of this day, a day whose holiness awakens deepest awe and inspires highest praise for your dominion. For your throne is a throne of love. Your reign is a reign of truth. In truth, you are judge and plaintiff, counselor and witness. You inscribe and seal. You record and recount. You remember all that we have forgotten. And when you open the book of memories, it speaks for itself. For every human hand leaves its mark, an imprint like no other.
Page 210. And so a great shofar will cry, Tekiah. A still small voice will be heard. Angels in a whirl of fear and trembling will say, behold the day of judgment, for they too are judged. In your eyes, even they are not blameless. All who come into the world pass before you, like sheep before their shepherd. As a shepherd considers the flock when it passes beneath the staff, you count and consider every life. You set bounds, you decide destiny, you inscribe judgments. Page 212.
Berosh Hashana Yikatevon, Uviom Tzom Kippur Yechatevon, Kama yavrun, vechama yibareun, michye umi yamut. mi vekitso, umi lo vekitso. Berosh Hashana yikatevon, yikatevon. Uveyom tzom kippur yechatevon, yechatevon. Mi va'esh, mi va'mayim, mi va'cherev, mi va'chaya, charev, mi va'rav, mitzama, mi va'rash, mi va'magefa, mi va'chanika, mi va'skila. Berosh Hashana yikatevon, yikatevon. Uveyom tzom kippur yechatevon, yechatevon. Mi yanuach, mi yashkit, mi yishalev, mi yani, umi yashir, mi yushpal, umi yarum. Uteshova, utefila, utzedaka. Mavirim et roa hagezera. Uteshova, utefila, utzedaka. Mavirim et roa hagezera.
On Rosh Hashanah, this is written. On the fast of Yom Kippur, this is sealed. How many will pass away from this world? How many will be born into it? Who will live and who will die? Who will reach the ripeness of age? Who will be taken before their time? Who by fire and who by water? Who by war and who by beast? Who by famine and who by drought? Who by earthquake and who by plague? Who by strangling and who by stoning? Who will rest and who will wander? Who will be tranquil and who will be troubled? Who will be calm and who tormented? Who will live in poverty and who in prosperity? Who will be humbled and who exalted? Together, but through return to the right path, through prayer and righteous giving, we can transcend the harshness of the decree.
Page 217. A kavanah for Kedushat Hashem. The Spirit is not holy, nor ideals, intention, or will. To love God in the heart, to carry a spiritual thought, this is not the holy way. Holiness resides in deeds alone. Only these are our task in this world. But to act without thought is empty, a mechanical rite without soul. Consciousness and action, matter and spirit all unite in a mitzvah mindfully performed. We change the world, not through our dreams, but through the way we consume, do our work, make Shabbat, give to one another. Were we angels, pure, disembodied souls, we would not need the discipline of deeds. Were we animals, pure instinct and drive, we could not rise to touch the sacred, to join body and mind, to live our ideals, to serve in the fullness of our humanity. This is the challenge of holy living. Page 220.
We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. We are words and we are stories. We are pictures of the past. We are carriers of wisdom, not the first and not the last. Lidor vador, nagid godlecha. Lidor vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, the door vador, these lips will praise your name. Looking back on the journey that we carry in our heart, from the shadow of the mountain to the waters that would part. We are blessed and we are holy. We are children of your way. And the words that bring us meaning, we will have the strength to say. Lidor vador, nagid godlecha. Lidor vador, we protect this chain. From generation to generation, Lidor vador, these lips will praise your name.
Take moments now for silent prayer.
We just sang about Lador Vador from generation to generation, and we are blessed with the sounds in this sacred space of generation to generation. How lucky are we? We continue in our prayer books on page 253. Please rise. Avinu Malkeinu, show us the way to a year of goodness. Renew our belief that the world can be better. Restore our faith in life. Restore our faith in you.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu Lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol Aleinu, Ve'alol Aleinu, Betapeinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kotbeinu, Besefer Chaim Tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Chadesh Aleinu, Chadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu, Shema Koleinu.
We continue with our Torah service and invite forward those with the honor of carrying a Torah scroll: Raina Merchant, Stephen Leitzel, Jonathan Krause, Brady Santoro, Kate Yulman, Beth Lashner. For unwrapping, lifting, and wrapping the scroll, Ellen and Stan Poster, Michelle Kelly. Our Aliyah, Jane and Benzion Friedman. Our Torah readers, Michael Riccardi, Samuel Weiss, Zoe Jackson, Carolyn Kelly, and those with the honor of reciting Haftarah blessings and text, Isaac Miller, Julia and Scott Engel, and Linda Carprudo. And at this time, we invite children 5th grade and younger to your own special Torah experience. Children 1st through 5th grades, please follow Jennifer James, our Director of Youth Learning and Engagement, out through the back of the sanctuary and across the hall to the community room. Parents are not required to accompany children to this service. Children under pre-K accompanied by an adult. Did you get that? Children under pre-K are accompanied by an adult. Please follow Andy Miller, Director of Judaic Education and Family Engagement for the Berger Early Learning Center, out through the side door of the sanctuary and downstairs to the Teller Auditorium. And pre-K and kindergarten families, Please feel free to go with either Andy and the little ones or Jennifer and the older kids, whichever feels right for your family. We continue in our prayer books, page 255.
Ein kamocha ve'Elohim Adonai ve'ein kemasecha malachotecha malachot kol olamim u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai
Spiritual and physical strength.
לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן. אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אהבה רחמים היטיבה ברצונך את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים. תבנה חומות ירושלים. כי בך לבד פתחנו מלך אל רם ונישא אדון עולמים. Israel, Adonai
Please be seated. This morning, we read from the Torah portion Nitzavim. While studying this portion recently with a B'nai Mitzvah student, I asked the question, why does the text begin by including everyone, from the tribal heads and the elders, all the way down to the water drawer and the wood chopper? Perhaps I was leading the student a little bit, and I expected them to say something like, well, this represents the most important people in society, all the way down to the lowest. I mean, come on, who really wants to be a water drawer when they grow up? However, the students surprised me and really taught me something in that moment. They said, the water drawer, huh? That must have been a really important job in the desert. The desert's really dry, and the entire community relied on this person. Without the water drawer, the Israelites would have died of thirst. I was blown away. The pandemic taught us a new term, essential worker. From doctors to nurses on the front lines keeping people alive, to truckers and grocery store workers who also kept us alive. We need everyone in our society. No position should be elevated or lowly. Nitzavim reminds us that we are all equal before God on this day of judgment, and that all are needed to make our community whole. You can follow along with the Aliyah on page 258 and the Torah reading on page 266. We welcome Jane Friedman for the honor of the Aliyah.
Baruch et Adonai HaVorach.
Baruch Adonai HaVorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaVorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bakar banu mekamim narat v'rot anu v'rad emet Baruch atah Adonai notein haTorah.
Atem nitzavim hayom kulhem lifnei Adonai Elohehem Rashechem Shiftehem Ziknehem V'shotrehem Kol Ish Yisrael.
Tapchem nishechem v'gerecha asher bekerev machanecha mechotev eitzecha ad shoev meimecha leovrecha biberit Adonai Elohecha uvalato asher Adonai Elohecha koritimcha ayom.
Leman hakimotecha hayom lo le'am v'chayu yihye lecha le'elohim ka'asher diber lach v'cha'asher nishpach la'avotecha le'avraham le'yitzchak u'ya'akov v'lo yitachechem levadchem anochim כורת את הברית הזאת ואת ההלכה הזאת, כי את אשר ישנו עמנו עומד היום לפני אדוני אלוהינו, ואת אשר איננו פה עמנו היום.
כי המצווה הזאת אשר אנוכי מצווך היום לא נפריתי ממך ולא נפשך והוקרה היא. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nacha banu mikamim anatah atah b'sotenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
In a moment, we will be on page 273 for the Misha Berach, our prayer for healing. This past week, journalist Katie Couric very publicly revealed that she has breast cancer. She shared her story in hopes of inspiring others to be vigilant in getting mammograms and other routine cancer screenings, something many of us put off during the pandemic. We are taught in our Torah portion that before us lies life and death, blessing and curse, and that the choice is in our hands. While there is so much in this world that is out of our control, preventative cancer screenings are very much in our control. May we remember the words of the Serenity Prayer used in many recovery programs. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. As we pray for healing, may we all accept that which we cannot change and find the courage to change that which we can. If you are holding someone in your heart this morning in need of healing, mind, body, or spirit, please write those names in the comments or speak their names aloud at this time.
Find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi shebeirach imoteinu mikor habracha. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Page 274 please rise. Get your hands a little closer to there. It'll be a little easier. Yep, there you go. Here, slide it off a little first, and then push down and then up. There you go. Got it?
וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. יאללה לי 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 יאללה לה לה לי 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 יאי לי 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 יאללה לי 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 לי.
Please be seated. If I, yeah, welcome back. If I had a nickel for every time I met someone, they find out I'm a rabbi, and they immediately say, oh, I'm Jewish, but I'm a bad Jew. Any bad Jews out here today? Usually they follow this with something like, I don't fast on Yom Kippur. I love to eat bacon. I don't go to synagogue very often. Well, we do actually want to see you here more, because your presence really helps lift up the community. And you probably shouldn't be eating so much bacon because it's bad for your health, and industrial pig farming is not great for the environment. Fasting, however, Isaiah has a little something to tell us about that today. But these things, do not make you a bad Jew. Isaiah reminds us in our Haftarah portion this morning that living a moral and ethical life is what is most important. So unless you are oppressing your workers, failing to help the homeless in our midst, or turning a blind eye to the oppression all around us, you are not a bad Jew. We continue with our Haftarah reading, beginning first with the blessing on page 275, and then the reading on page 277.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nvi'im tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo uv'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek.
Is this the fast I desire, a day to afflict body and soul, bowing your head like a reed, covering yourself with sackcloth and ashes? Do you call this a fast, a day worthy of the favor of Adonai? Is not this the fast I desire, to break the bonds of injustice and remove the heavy yoke, to let the oppressed go free and release all those enslaved?
Is it not to share your bread with the hungry and to take the homeless poor into your home and never to neglect your own flesh and blood? Then shall your light burst forth like the dawn, and your wounds shall quickly heal, your righteous one leading the way before you, the presence of Adonai guarding you from behind.
Then, when you call, Adonai will answer, and when you cry, will respond, I am here. If you remove the chains of oppression, the menacing hand, the malicious word, if you offer your compassion to the hungry and satisfy the suffering, then shall your light shine through the darkness, and your night becomes bright as noon. Adonai will guide you always, slake your thirst in parched places, give strength to your bones, and you shall be like a well-watered garden, an unfailing spring.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzor kol ha'olamin, tzadik boho hadarot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, hamdaber umkayim, shechol devarav emet v'tzedek. Al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanvim ve'al yom ha'kippurim hazeh, shenatatan lanu Adonai Eloheinu limchela v'liskelacha u'chaparech lehavot u'tifaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu enachnu modim lach umvarchim otach yitbarach shimcha befi kol hai tamid le'olam va'ed udvarcha emet v'kayam lad. Baruch atah Adonai melech mochil v'soleach la'avonotenu v'la'avonot amo beit Yisrael u'ma'avir ashmotenu b'chol shana v'shana melech hakol ha'aretz mekadesh Yisrael v'yom ha'kippurim.
Amen. Turning to page 291, please rise.
Eitz chaim hi lamachazikim ba
Please be seated. Jewish tradition teaches us that every morning as the sun rises, the world is created anew. But it is not only the world. We are recreated. We have another chance. As we confess and make amends, we do so knowing there is hope to recreate our path. Page 296. Our God and God of all generations, may our prayers reach your presence. And when we turn to you, do not be indifferent. Adonai, we are arrogant and stubborn, claiming to be blameless and free of sin. In truth, we have stumbled and strayed. We have done wrong.
Ay, 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 Ashamnu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Dibarnu Dofi, ay, 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 Hevinu, V'hirshanu, Zadnu, Chamasnu, Tafalnu Shaker, ay, 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 Ya'atznu Ra, Kizavnu, Lotznu, Maradnu, Niatznu, Sararnu, Avinu, Pashanu, Sararnu, Kishinu Oref, ay, 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 Rashanu, Shichatnu, Tiavnu, Tainu, Titanu.
Page 308. We stand together this day to confess our sins, but these moments are mine. In the privacy of my heart, I acknowledge the wrongs I have done, pain I have given intentionally and unintentionally, my thoughtless, careless, heartless actions, and my failure to do what was right. Al chet shechatanu lefanecha. I reflect on the harm I have done to myself through failure to care for my body and preserve my health, through failure to develop my mind and grow in learning, through failure to develop my spiritual life and seek God's presence, through failure to maintain my integrity and maintain faithful to my ideals, through trying to meet my emotional needs in unhealthy ways, through sexual irresponsibility, through failure to manage my finances wisely, through indulging in negative thinking, self-obsession, or self-denigration, through closing myself off from others rather than reaching out, through taking on too much and neglecting what matters most, through using time in a way that does not reflect my true priorities, through fear of change, stagnation, falling into routine, and I confess as well these acts of harming myself.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, I reflect on the harm I have done to my family and friends. Through my failure to listen with care, empathy, and compassion, through my failure to give my time, attention, and energy to sustaining important relationships, through my failure to convey affection and respect, appreciation and gratitude, through stubbornness, giving in to anger or violence, through my intolerance of imperfection in others, through criticism, harsh judgment, and focusing on the negative, through my failure to fulfill my responsibilities and sacred commitments, through intrusiveness, over-involvement, or manipulation, through gossip, tale-bearing, and failure to give the benefit of the doubt, through withholding my deepest self, lying and deceit, through my failure to forgive and let go of grudges, through neglect, impatience, or insensitivity toward my parents and other elders, through neglect, impatience, or insensitivity toward my children and other young people. And I confess as well these acts of harming family and friends. Bottom of page 306.
Forgive us, return us, grant our life anew. Ve'al kunam Eloah slichot, slach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper
Al chet shechatzanu lefanecha, I reflect on the harm I have done to the world around me. Through my failure to take time to educate myself about complex social problems, through my failure to do my part as an active citizen and make my voice heard, through resigning myself to the way things are rather than working for change, through inappropriate or harmful sexual behavior, through succumbing to racism and disdaining those different from myself, through overconsumption, materialism, and self-indulgence, through my failure to respond with generosity to those in need, through my discourtesy, ill temper, and impatience at work or in public settings, through dishonesty in my work or financial dealings, through breaking the law or bending the rules, through cynicism and abandoning hope. And I confess as well these acts of harming the world around me.
Ve'al kulam Eloah slichot, slach lanu, mechal lanu, kaper lanu. Ve'al kulam Eloah slichot, slach lanu, Chalanu, kaper lanu. For all these ask one thing of you. Forgive us, return us, grant us life anew. Ve'al kulam Eloah slichot, slach lanu b'chal lanu, kaper lanu.
Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, I reflect on the harm I have done to the Jewish people. Through my failure to make time for Jewish learning, worship, and mitzvot, through neglecting to do my part to carry on the tradition, through my reluctance to keep growing in my Jewish life and deepen my Jewish practice, through my failure to be a good Jewish role model for the children of my life, through gossip and harmful speech about members of our community, through taking from the community without giving back, through my indifference to Jews in need here and around the world, through ignoring opportunities to visit, support, and educate myself about Israel, through my failure to exemplify the highest Jewish values and virtues. And I confess as well these acts of harming the Jewish people. Good Yantif. A few years ago, we took our Road of Shalom teens to Israel over winter break. One sunny Monday morning, as we were touring the Galilee, we saw people going about their day as normal, heading off to school or the office, sitting in cafes, catching up with friends. As the day went on, our tour guide announced over the loudspeaker on the bus, "Oh, by the way, everyone, Merry Christmas." We all started laughing because we had no idea it was Christmas. In Israel, Christmas is not a public national holiday. For many of our teens, this was the first time in their lives that they were part of the religious majority of a country. And at that moment, many of our students understood for the first time what it means to be a religious minority, a Jew, living in Christian majority America. On June 24th of this year, Roe v. Wade was overturned, creating a devastating reality to so many people in this country who no longer have the freedom of reproductive choice. The overturning of Roe was another nail in the coffin to the freedom of religion and the separation of church and state guaranteed by our Constitution. This is a warning sign of the dangerous rise of white Christian nationalism. I want to be clear. I have no problem with Christianity. Some of my best friends are Christian. Really. Including my friend, colleague, and mentor, Bishop Dwayne Royster, who recently told me and a group of multi-faith leaders, white Christian nationalism is not Christianity. It is idolatry. White Christian nationalism is the belief that America is and must remain a Christian nation founded for its white inhabitants, and that our laws and policies must reflect this premise. White Christian nationalists oppose equality for people of color, women, the LGBTQ community, and our Jewish community, along with other religious minorities. White Christian nationalism is anti-American and anti-democratic. Christians are free to practice their religion. just like us, just like any other religious community. White Christian nationalists seek to force those Christian beliefs on others. This morning, we read from the prophet Isaiah, "Do not hold back. Lift up your voice like the shofar." The shofar is loud. The shofar is unapologetic. The shofar isn't a melodic instrument. The shofar is discordant and jarring. Lift up your voice like the shofar. Because without the federal protections of Roe, 26 states are going to ban abortion. It's already illegal in 12. Abortion bans don't work. They don't reduce unintended pregnancies or the demand for abortion. They impose significant hurdles to obtaining medical care, especially for the most vulnerable in our society: minorities, immigrants, the LGBTQ community, and low-income families. The Torah tells us repeatedly to protect the widow, the orphan, and the stranger. These were the most vulnerable people in biblical times. Who are the vulnerable in our society today? How can we protect them? The First Amendment is meant to protect the minority, the vulnerable, and white Christian nationalists are using it to protect the majority. This is not okay, and we need to lift our voices like a shofar. This past year, the Supreme Court also ruled in favor of allowing prayer in school. What's the big deal, you might ask? Buddhist prayer, Sikh prayer, any prayer's allowed. It's equal, right? No. Allowing prayer in public school favors the majority religion and unfairly targets minority students. My wife grew up in Texas, and she was the only Jewish student at her public high school. She sat through school-wide assemblies where teachers and students knelt in Christian prayer, and she felt othered. She was ostracized. Prayer does not belong in school. Lift up your voice like the shofar. Religious freedom is crucial to our Jewish community. The prophet Micah, in looking to the Messianic age, writes, "And every person shall sit under their vine or fig tree with no one to disturb them, and all people will walk, each in the name of their God, and we will walk in the name of Adonai, our God." We will walk in the name of our God, and everyone else can walk in the name of their God. We are free to practice our religion and others to practice theirs. When states impose religion on others, we are walking a dangerous path. Civil rights litigator Roberta Kaplan writes, "The historical record is unambiguous. It has never gone well for us in the past when the government has tried to assert domination by the majority of faith. From the Spanish Inquisition to present-day Iran, living as a Jew, a religious minority, in a country that has sought to impose the majority religion has had dire and deadly consequences. Mother Emanuel, Tree of Life, Charlottesville, El Paso, Buffalo. These were all acts of domestic terror fueled by white Christian nationalist thinking. White Christian nationalists want power at any cost. For over 40 years, they have been undermining our democracy by systematically disenfranchising voters through gerrymandering and unnecessarily cumbersome voting restrictions. According to a recent poll, the 20% of white Americans who strongly embrace Christian nationalism, about 30 million adults, are more likely to believe that it is too easy to vote. It's time to lift up our voices like the shofar. As Jews and as Americans, let's stand up for democracy. Stand up for the voice of the vulnerable. Ensure their voice is not silenced. In our vidui that we just read, we said, Al chet shechatanu lefanecha. Through my failure to educate myself about complex social problems, through my failure to do my part as an active citizen and make my voice heard, through resigning myself to the way things are rather than working for change. For these failures of judgment and will, God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, lead us to atonement. But we can't just say the words. Teshuvah requires action. Teshuvah needs follow-through. Teshuvah is a commitment to change. Lift up your voice like the shofar. Or to quote Bishop Royster, we need to tell a different story about faith in Pennsylvania. Here's the story I want to tell. The story of a diverse religious group representing all aspects of our society, dedicated to protecting the vulnerable. Power Interfaith, a network of over 50 congregations in our state, is going on a Get Out the Vote tour. We're calling this bus tour the Freedom Express. The tour is about restoring faith in democracy, helping people imagine a Pennsylvania where all people can thrive, and calling out the evils of white Christian nationalism. The tour is kicking off at Independence Hall on October 18th at 10 a.m. I'll be there. I want to see all you there as well. Don't hold back. Lift up your voice like the shofar. We're also working with RAC PA, the Pennsylvania branch of the Religious Action Center, our Reform Movement social justice arm. With our partners in RAC, we've already tackled gerrymandering and fair districting after the 2020 census. And now we're joining together once again to increase voter turnout. Congregations in Lancaster, Harrisburg, Pittsburgh, Erie, Altoona, and across the state are working together to engage voters. White Christian nationalists don't want us to vote. They don't want people of color to vote. They don't want the LGBTQ community to vote. They don't want immigrants to vote. But we're not going to stand for that, because we know that every citizen deserves to have their voice heard. Don't hold back. Lift up your voice like the shofar. On your way out of the sanctuary today, you will see congregants handing out postcards in the lobby. Take a pack of 5 postcards with 5 addresses for you to handwrite. Studies have shown that a handwritten postcard is much more likely to get the attention of a potential voter than a phone call or a letter. Write a compelling, nonpartisan message reminding your fellow Pennsylvanians about the importance of voting. The cards even already have a stamp on them. And thank you to our Berken Merkaz Limud Bamidbar teens for your help stamping 1,200 postcards last Sunday. Lift up your voice like the shofar and empower others to lift up their voice as well. If you're joining us online or we run out of postcards, what a great problem. We have another opportunity. Join congregants for a virtual phone bank on Thursday, October 13th, to call Pennsylvanians not yet registered to vote. You can find all the information to register on our website or in our weekly email. Do not hold back. Lift up your voice like the shofar, implored Isaiah. Don't hold back. Encourage others to lift up their voices as well. This work is hard, and it's going to take all of us. But I have hope. I truly believe that if each of us does our part, if we each use our voice, we can make a difference. Every time I put on my talis, I'm reminded of the words, Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor. It is not up to you to complete the work, but neither are you free to desist from it. I can't do it alone. You can't do it alone. But if each of us does our part, if each of us lifts up our voice, we can do it. It can be overwhelming and daunting. The prophet Jonah tried to run from his calling, but National Youth Poet Laureate Amanda Gorman reminds us in her poem, The Hill We Climb, that we need not run. If we bravely face the darkness together, we can find light. We can find justice. She writes, when day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace. And the norms and notions of what just isn't always justice. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. It is not up to you to finish the work, but neither are you free to desist from it. It's time to tell a new story, a different faith narrative, to redefine what it means to be a religious community in this country. Inclusive, loving, and protecting the most vulnerable among us. Do not hold back. Lift up your voice like the shofar. Amen.
Amen. A few announcements. Rabbi Friedman's afternoon teaching after the second service, Jonah, Truth and Mercy, will be held across the way in the community room, and online there's a Zoom link on the website. The meditation teaching and practice will take place downstairs in the Gottman room. Now it is my honor to invite our congregational president, Hank Bernstein, to share remarks.
Good Yontif. It's wonderful to be here with all of you in this sanctuary and online. In this, the third year of my term, and the last time I will be speaking to you as president from this bema. I've been called the COVID president, a distinction we could have all lived without over the past years. In addition to COVID, rampant anti-Semitism, the war in Ukraine, appalling gun violence in our city and in our country, high inflation, and the myriad other issues we've faced. The last year has been a difficult one for me, as I also lost two incredibly important people in my life, my mother and a close friend of 40 years. I have grieved the loss of these two brilliant people, and I still think of them quite often, as I know I will for the rest of my life. I miss their voices, their sage wisdom, their laughter, our conversations about everything and nothing, just being with them within the shelter of their love and friendship. I'm a regular here at RS at Torah study, and I recently read a Torah commentary about gerotranscendence, the urgent search for meaning by older people, which I count myself. With gerotranscendence comes an increased interest in past generations and a decreased interest with non-meaningful social interactions. Sounds even more like myself. Noted geriatric authority Dr. Bill Thomas states that there is, quote, also often a feeling of cosmic awareness and a redefinition of time, space, life, and death. The person becomes less self-occupied and more selective in the choice of social and other activities. Of course, my losses have made me more keenly aware of my own mortality, my need for purpose, my need to lead a meaningful and holy life, and my need to want to be remembered. I've always felt a powerful connection to my ancestors, my parents and grandparents, their lives of purpose, and the life lessons they taught me by word and by deed. My parents taught me that I needed to belong to a synagogue, even if I were to choose only to attend on the high holy days. They said it was my obligation to ensure that future generations of Jewish children could have the educational opportunities that I had had, and that all Jews were able to thrive in community. I was once a supporting member of this congregation, but as I became more engaged with all aspects of life at RS, and as I felt more financially secure, I became an investing member. I see it clearly as my responsibility. As you are aware, Road of Shalom today still maintains its important founding principle that no one is refused membership because of financial hardship. You also need to understand that fully 50% of our members pay supporting membership commitments, which are below the sustaining or standard rate of membership. At the same time, during COVID, our membership numbers and membership revenues have decreased as some members decided not to make any financial commitment during this period. Because of these membership issues facing not only RS, but facing many other Jewish congregations in our area and nationwide, the board of directors and the leaders of the congregation have been engaged in conversations to ensure the future of our beloved RS. These conversations center on continuing to fund the congregation's visionary work on 4 tracks, what I've called the four-legged stool. The 4 legs are: first, increasing the number of members and membership revenue; second, monetizing the use of our facilities and our property; third, increasing the contributions to temporarily restricted funds. Temporarily restricted funds are special purpose funds. And fourth, increasing the size of our endowment to relieve pressure on RS's operating budget. RS continues to have a structural deficit. That is, our operating revenues do not cover our expenses. The Strategic Planning Committee has been working on measures to help alleviate our financial issues and will soon release its plan that includes steps to be taken to bolster all 4 legs of the stool. Leadership has placed a high priority on increasing the size of our endowment. As we've learned from the pandemic, membership revenue, school revenues, and facility rental fees cannot always be relied upon in the same way as funds from endowment. As you've read in communications from RS, you've seen the banner in our lobby, you've heard at Rosh Hashanah from Susan Clare, we have been focused on our endowment campaign, Karen or Ray of Light. With Susan's leadership, expertise, and energy as chair of the campaign and with the assistance of many other volunteers, we are closing in on $10 million from approximately 180 households. We've been excited and encouraged by the confidence, enthusiasm, and generosity of our early campaign donors. They have shown that they understand their responsibility to Judaism and this holy congregation. We need each and every household in our sacred community to rise up and assess your capability. Celebrate what RS has meant to you and show that you understand the answer and will contribute to the endowment of RS to secure this congregation's future. We need your participation in this campaign. A stronger endowment will ensure the stability, sustainability, and future of Road of Shalom as the only Reformed congregation in this city, so that our congregation remains a center for Jewish life and remains vibrant, enduring, and relevant for generations to come. In preparation for making a commitment to the campaign, I hope you will remember the questions I asked at Yom Kippur last year. What are you willing to do to ensure that the gifts that have been entrusted to us are available to the next generations of Road of Shalom? And are you willing to act through a generous contribution to the endowment campaign to ensure the future of this congregation and Reform Judaism in this city? Early in the campaign, I felt compelled to make a significant leadership gift. I hope that each of you will join me and make a gift to the campaign that is meaningful to you, so that together we may ensure a Road of Shalom that is financially secure and strong, and RS, that you are proud to call your spiritual home a ray of light in Philadelphia and to the future of the Jewish people. Gamar Chatima Tova, may you and your loved ones be sealed for the good.
Hank, thank you for your important message and your dedicated leadership and for the partnership we share every day. Page 312, we turn to Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav for these closing words. Always look for the good in yourself, and remember, joy is not incidental to your spiritual quest. It is vital, for so it is written, you will go out through joy and be led forth in peace. Focus on the good in yourself. Take joy in what is good, and you will be led forth from inner darkness.
Lishana tova tikateimu, Lishana tova tikateimu, tikateimu, tikateimu. Lishana tova tikateimu, Lishana tova tikateimu. Lishana tova tikateimu, Lishana tova tikateimu. A happy new year to you, happy new year to you.
Gamar Chatima Tova, may you be sealed in goodness.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Chatanu lefanecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Chamol aleinu, Ve'anol aleinu. V'tapeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei tevel, V'cherev v'rav, Me'aleinu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kalei chol tzar, Me'aleinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu.
To all of our guests, we are so glad to embrace you into our sacred community. We are proud to be able to invest in this open tent and to provide open access to all, because we believe we are responsible to the greater community and to the future of the Jewish people. If you are in a position to support Congregation Rodef Shalom with a financial contribution, we would be so grateful. And we invite all who are looking to deepen your relationship with us, to connect with our community. L'Shana Tova.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Koleinu. אבינו מלכנו, חטאנו לפניך. אבינו מלכנו, חמול עלינו, ועל עוללינו, ותפנו. אבינו מלכנו, קלי דבר, וחרב ורעב מעלינו. אבינו מלכנו, קלי כל צר ומסתיר מעלינו. אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, כותבנו בספר חיים טובים. אבינו מלכנו, חדש עלינו, חדש עלינו, שנה טובה. אבינו מלכנו, שמע קולנו, שמע קולנו, שמע קולנו. אבינו מלכנו, שמע קולנו. אבינו מלכנו, חטאנו לפניך. אבינו מלכנו, חמול עלינו, ועל עוללינו, ותפנו. אבינו מלכנו, קלי דבר, וחרב ורעב מעלינו. אבינו מלכנו, קלי כל צר ומסתיר מעלינו. אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, כותבנו בספר חיים